Hey, what's going on, everybody? Julian Sage here with my mentor, business partner, and friend, Jon Bell in the flesh. And in this video, we just wanted to give a kind of a recap or kind of tell the story of how we ended up working together and recording all of these videos, starting our business, co-host it, as well as a whole slew of different other things that we've been working on the past year that we've been together. I think we've been now about a solid year just kind of working together and starting this journey. So definitely wanted to kind of share that so you can kind of been following along, because you probably noticed on this channel, sometimes I'll make a video, sometimes Jon will make a video, sometimes I'll put a podcast out there for the success stories, or I will be doing a podcast together, Vacation Rental Machine, where Jon's at his house, I'm at my house. So we actually live right next to each other.
Far,
yeah, it takes them about 10 minutes to get up to where I live. So Jon, actually, because I started reaching out to other people when I was growing and starting our first podcast, the Short-Term Mental Success Stories. And that was for me to be able to find other people experienced in the short-term mental space. When I discovered that you can actually make a living just managing other people's properties using a couple different concepts. We call them, co-hosting, where you're managing other people's properties. And then the model that I learned was also master lease investing or rental arbitrage. So, I actually reached out to Jon because I saw he was posting in the Facebook group saying hey, just commenting. And I saw he mentioned how many properties he's had. So I said, wow, this is a guy that I'd love to be able to come onto the podcast, that I'd like to be able to interview, because I was still learning. I didn't have a clue about anything. I just started. I don't even think I had my first property, my basement unit on this house up and running. So I was really new, and I watched all the YouTube videos from Sean from Airbnb Automated and Richard Furtick from Short-Term Mental University, and it was really good information. But there's that disconnect when you're watching people that just make YouTube videos, maybe you're watching us and you're thinking it's good info, but that maybe that I don't know if I can do that. I felt that way, and I still feel that way when I listen to other people that are ahead of me, but I know that it's possible now. So if you kind of want to talk about how you maybe heard from me, or what was kind of going through your head when I was reaching out to you.
It was just like you said, I made a few comments in a different Facebook group this time. Normally I'm in a private group and I'm just going back and forth, either helping somebody or getting help myself. And I actually got something in my inbox from Julian, who was like, hey, I want to interview you for my show. And I was thinking, interview me for your show? Really? I don't know if I really want to kind of be interviewed for anything like that. Or have I really even reached a level in which I should be interviewed, was almost my personal question. Because again, I was doing this whole thing part-time. I wasn't really fully it wasn't my full-time gig. But of course, those points are really the points that Julian pointed out that were, hey, these are key points, because people think that they need to go and do all of this stuff. And when we sat down and we talked, really, I only meant to meet with Julian just to figure out his vibe. And hey, you know what? I wouldn't mind putting something out just to help other people kind of get to where I am, because what I did see, just like he mentioned, Sean and some other people that were on YouTube, or people were telling people to quit their jobs and stuff like that, and they had to go in and do all of this stuff. Well, I didn't do any of that. And I didn't want people to feel like, hey, this is the only thing that they have to do to make this work. You could do this on your own part-time. You could scale it how you want it. I told Julian when we first met, we actually sat down and we grabbed some sushi at one of my favorite places close to one of my units. And we just had a general conversation about where I was, how I kind of got there, and really interesting conversation. And of course, Julian at the end, he says, we need to start a podcast. And I go, what? I started losing hair at that moment. You can tell it's almost gone.
Yeah, and the reason why is because mentorship, and I know a lot of people say oh, find a mentor, and it really was because I could just keep on watching videos, I could just keep on consuming content, but really what I was looking for Jon was a process. Jon's an IT guy, and he also was working full time, and I'm still active duty in the Coast Guard, so it's it's one thing to have just a lot of information, and that's what the space really had. There was a good amount of information online. Granted, it wasn't all the information that was available, because a lot of people, when they talk about this stuff, they talk about like a particular way of doing things. So the information that was available online wasn't very large, and there wasn't any real system or process to be able to implement it. So, talking with John and us being both, IT, very analytical, or just like, okay, John, if you were to just brain dump all of this information, how would we do this in a process? And being able to have someone to, whenever I had a question, I'd be like, John, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do this? And really, it was through that process of him being like, oh, this is what I would do. This is what I would do. This is what I would do. That we were able to create a process, a system of how do you can actually build this as a business. So the same way that you would, start a franchise is very similar to the way that we started thinking and about how to actually build a business using short-term rentals. Because it's, like if you were to start a wholesaling business, for example, like John, you actually purchased a franchise. What made you go from, just taking information that was online from like, really good resources like Bigger Pockets or like other shows to actually wanting to purchase a franchise?
Actually, it was because I wanted to hit the ground running. I didn't want to just be consuming a bunch of data and a bunch of information to then just try to say, okay, I'm gonna go out and do it myself. I wanted something that worked right out the gate. And purchasing a franchise did help that whole thing, right? I threw money into a bucket, and that money then created leads, and those leads led to me talking to people and buying houses. It was just as simple as that. Of course, they had some other training and some other key things that I definitely needed to go out and study, but it was already pointed out and identified. I didn't have to consume a whole bunch of information to just really just kind of sit on or try to parse through which ones were really important. So that was really important to me, to get in and to understand something that was well oiled, but not only that, but to allow me to keep my day job, because I still wanted my day job. So I needed something that could work right out the gate without me having to quit or do anything like that, or just feel stressed out because I didn't have anything coming in from it.
And that's really kind of what started the Vacation Rental Machine podcast, was because a vacation rental machine, we wanted a system that people could follow for them to basically be like, hey, where do I start and how do I do this? And how do I create something that's able to, not just, something that's not going to consume all of your time, trying to reinvent the wheel or trying to, just operate using bits and pieces that a bunch of different people shared. So, I kind of wanted, this show to be like straight from the horse's mouth, someone that scaled from 0 to 24 properties in 18 months, all while working a full-time job. That was something that I personally wanted to benefit from. I know that a lot of other people would benefit from, which is why we started that podcast. So after starting the podcast together, we actually decided to, take all this information and also give resources and tools on how you can actually do this yourself, which started the Vacation Rental Machine formula, which was very similar to our podcast, but more in depth. So we would actually go in and, go in depth onto the specific tools that John was using, also use the resources. We actually were able to take the way that John was able to, analyze properties and come up with the numbers on how much he should be charging, and we actually made that into a calculator. Yep. We call it the profit breakdown calculator, but really it's just John's process, the way that he's able to look at a property and say, is this going to be profitable or not, and actually put it into a form. So we ended up creating that program, and that was really, really well. And we had a good amount of students that have gone through it, but even from there though, I felt like, teaching people how to be able to do this, it's fun, it's engaging, being able to grow a community, but that wasn't it. Like, I feel like that was one part of kind of this thing that we were creating. And from there, we actually started coming up with different ideas on how we can actually build a business together, because John was operating his business and I was, growing my business, managing other people's properties. And I think I was actually kind of the one that introduced you to, co-hosting and making you kind of realize that you could actually start taking some more clients, because you had some investors that actually wanted to work with you and they wanted you to be able to manage their properties, right?
Correct. So I really had just started doing that right as I met Julian. But after talking with Julian and getting some of his stories, either from his other guests or some of his personal stories, I decided that, hey, this is a good point to add in a nice array and spread out across different models to just bring in some stable income across all the ways that we can actually make money in this business. So we started co-hosting.
Yeah. So that was kind of like a natural development where it was like, hey, people are listening to us, and, sometimes people listen to our videos and they say like, I just want to learn some of the basic stuff, but maybe they don't want to manage the properties themselves. So, just kind of a natural thing was like, hey, let's start a management company together where we can basically take, Jon's, brain of operations, and then, the networking and the being able to, get people from, just hearing about us to actually wanting to work with us. And we kind of merge that together to create a management company. And, so this is really kind of where we are right now is, we teach people how to be able to do this, but we're still operating ourselves and growing our business. I don't know if we're going to be able to teach people moving forward in the future, as we start to grow, but I think that there is a lack of information that was really, well sourced. Like people talk about like rental arbitrage investing, or they talk about buy and hold, but nobody was really talking about like, short-term renting, rental arbitrage, and it's not the end all be all. And a lot of people, when they get into the space, they say, oh, I'm just gonna do rental arbitrage, I'm gonna pick up these properties, or oh, I'm just gonna do this. But short-term rentals is a whole like niche in real estate that people don't realize. And that's why it's like, we're excited to be able to teach people about this stuff, help educate people, because the more people that learn about this, the more people actually want to, start their own short-term rentals, or they want us to be able to help them, manage their properties for them. So, a little bit of selfish reasoning there, but I think it's for good purpose, because we're putting out content for people to learn how to be able to, run numbers, analyze properties, what to look for, how to operate. And in return, some people end up wanting to work with us and have us be able to help them start their own business, which we, have in our training program, or they actually want us to be able to manage their properties because they built that relationship with us and they trust us. And, with a management relationship, it's all about trust. Trusting someone to be able to, help them make money, trusting someone to be able to manage cleaners and, make sure that you're not trying to undercut them, or trying to just, make a profit and, you don't care about them or their properties. So that's why I'm really excited. And that's why we keep on making these videos. Even if we only get a few hundred views, or, even just a single person that maybe listens to us and resonates with that, I can't see a world, or I can't see a way of us growing this business without us communicating with you guys and making these videos. So if you're interested and you kind of vibe on the same level, the same frequency that Jon and I do, because we have a pretty unique frequency, then definitely, come and join us. You don't have to pay for anything with us. You can join our free Facebook group. You can subscribe to this channel, and we put out a lot of content there. You can listen from episode number 1 of the Vacation Rental Machine podcast all the way to like episode number 80 plus that we're at right now. So lots of content there. But if you are looking for a little bit more help and you want something a little bit more in depth, again, don't have to purchase anything. But if you are looking for that next level training where we provide resources, we actually do coaching calls every couple weeks, and help you be able to run your business. We definitely think that the more people that know about this, the more people are going to be interested in this market, because it's still very untapped. It's such an unknown market for a lot of people. Most people don't even know what a short-term rental is. They just know about Airbnb. So the future is really bright and very green. We hope that you join us on this journey. So if you like this video, then and you want to keep on seeing us, keep on making this content, would really appreciate just a thumbs up and subscribe, because we're going to be putting out content. We've been putting out content about three times a week.
About
So,
2 years now, right?
Yeah, almost 2 years with the videos every single week consistently. So if you like this and you like us and you want to join us in our community, then definitely check out the resources down below. If you want to get plugged in with us, either managing your property, or if you want us to be able to help coach you on how to be able to do this and run this business yourself, everything is down in the description box below. But you have anything else that you want to share, John?
Definitely just connect with us in the Facebook group. And if you're really interested in that coaching program, you can definitely reach out to us on Short-Term Sage, and we can get you right down the right place that you want to go. That includes if you want us to actually manage a property for you, because again, this is one of those ways that we do acquire some of those people just by being knowledgeable in this space. So we want to make sure that you guys are actually one of those people that just know exactly how to go in and grab people and operate a productive business.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. And until next time, keep on hosting.